Adventure Racers. My name is Chip Dodd with thisABILITY Adventures, and this is the course overview for the Hustle on the Trestle virtual adventure race that we have just launched this month in Farmville, Virginia. So I'm excited that you're interested in the course. This overview is going to basically give you an idea what you're up against, how the course flows, just so that you can make a decision. Would you like to do this course or do one of our other courses? It may generate some questions, and so we're definitely open for questions or whatever. It's definitely an entry-level course. There's nothing really difficult on there. The navigation is straightforward. It's just trekking and biking, so there's no paddle section. So if you're concerned about being on a paddle section in the wintertime due to the cold, this is a great race to get out there and get some good navigation, get some good exercise, fun in the woods with your family and friends, but with a little bit less risk, I guess you could say. So well, let's jump right into the course. Farmville, Virginia is a little known town. So I'm going to use some maps. I'm going to do a screen share real quick and show you the maps. And that way you kind of get an idea of where it is in relation to everything. So let me do a quick screen share. So here we are. This is Bing Maps. And I just kind of typed in Farmville, Virginia, just to give you an idea of where it is. You can kind of see it's very central in Virginia. You got Washington, D.C. a little bit to our north and Maryland, and then to a little bit of the south is like Raleigh, Charlotte. So it's really centrally located for anybody. I mean, most of the time we say you should only drive the same length of the race. And so for newer teams, this could take up to 8 hours. That's when we did the cutoff. And then for fast teams that are competitive, you could probably knock this thing out in 6 hours or less if you're pretty efficient. So whatever. So this is a very centralized race. As you can see, it's not in the mountains, although it is a little bit hilly. The single track is definitely kind of up and down, but no big long slog climbs and stuff like you would expect if you went out there into the Appalachian Mountains. So I'll zoom in just a little bit further. It's basically it's on 460 heading out, kind of in between Richmond and Lynchburg, Virginia are the two big cities. So it's pretty centrally located, cute little town here. The main part of this that's really neat is that there's a new rails to trails system that goes all the way through Farmville and actually connects a couple of the cities on both sides of Farmville. It's but the High Bridge State Park took over the rails to trails in this area just a handful of years ago. So to my knowledge, there's never been a race in this area. And so this might be new to some of you guys that are kind of seasoned racers that have been around and seen everything. This may be kind of new for you to come into this Farmville area. Okay, so I'm going to click over. This is the Topo software that we use to basically do our maps. So this is kind of what your maps are going to look like. Of course, I took all the checkpoints off. Also, it's not going to have the grid. But basically, when you register for this race, we're going to send you the maps in the mail. They're going to be printed on Write and Rain paper. So it's very durable. It's waterproof, laser with very high quality. As you can see in here, we've got some of the relief shading so you can kind of see the ups and downs in the terrain. And so that's pretty neat the way we print them because there's a huge amount of detail in the maps. I think there's a total of 4 maps on this course, 1/12,000 scale, 500 meter grid lines. Just because it is on a smaller scale. I know normally the grid lines are about a kilometer each or 1,000 meters. So, but just because the maps are printed on a little smaller scale at 1/12,000, the 500 looks a little bit better on the map. And then, of course, most of us do not have a measurement tool for 1/12,000 scale, but almost all of us have 1/24,000 scale. So basically just cut it in half. If it says it's 200 meters on the 1/24th, it's really 100 meters on 1/12,000 scale. So it's pretty easy to do the conversion. Of course, you can use your centimeters on your compass and use the scale at the bottom. Okay, so let's jump right in. Here is, we basically, the start finish is in the downtown Farmville area. There's a parking lot that's right kind of near the rails to trails right here in this area. It is free parking. It's unless there's like an event going on or something like that, this lot almost always has a ton of spots. There's always the locals there that are walking their dogs and stuff like that. So you shouldn't have any problem parking here and using this as your transition area. So basically come into town, get parked, get set up and get ready to roll. Although the legs can be done in any order, it's kind of up to you. But what I'm going to go over in this course overview, I'm going to pretend like that you're a new team or a new racer and you just kind of want to test the waters on adventure racing and you're not going to get all creative and sly and trying to figure out how to game the system to get the best speed. So I'm going to walk you through it as if you're following the basic course design. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to hop on your bikes and jump on this rail to trail. So it's right there next to the parking lot. No traffic. So you're going to hull butt down the rail to trail. You're going to pass the single track section, or not pass it. You're going to stop at the single track section, and there is a trail in here called the Burnside Trail. It's an inner, I know there's a lot of squiggles and it's hard to see, but basically the Burnside Trail is a squiggly thing inside the outer loop. And I think it's 2.1 miles or so, but it is a lot of fun. And as you can tell by the topography, there's a lot of ups and downs, and I call them whoop-de-doos, where the trail kind of goes up and down really fast. I would call this an intermediate trail. This is, if you're new to biking and you're not used to kind of big downhills and big uphills, meaning 6 to 8 feet, but kind of steep on both sides, then there might be some walk the bike up and stuff like that. So of course, like anything, like if you feel like you're getting over your head a little bit, then it's better to walk the bike than take any chances on getting hurt. But for those of you that like single track and are comfortable on single track, this is a lot of fun. There's not a lot of very technical stuff. It's mostly just a lot of fun ups and downs and whoop-de-doos, like I said. So basically, this is a time trial. We really wanted people to get out and experience this single track the way it was designed. And so instead of putting checkpoints, everything out there, basically you can tell right here, there's a start and finish right at the same, they're side by side. So basically you're going to start your stopwatch and you're going to go into this Burnside Trail and do it as fast as you can and get to the end. Your entire team comes out the other side and you take your time. Maybe it's 15 minutes, maybe it's 30 minutes. If you had a mechanical, you're still on the clock. But basically the idea is it's a time trial. And then the way you're going to get credit for the time trial is you take whatever your time was, and we're going to subtract that from 60 minutes. So for example, it took you 20 minutes to do the time trial, 60 minutes minus 20 is 40 minutes. You're going to get a 40-minute time credit from your end time for the entire course. You're also going to get 5 points, which is like the equivalent of one of our pro points for completing the time trial. You're not going to be getting checkpoints on the time trial. We just want you to have fun on the single track, go as fast as you feel comfortable, and that'll give you the time credit. Okay, so let's say you're done with the time trial. You're going to pop back out, get back on the rails to trails, head down here. There's going to be a couple checkpoints along the rails to trails, so you got to maybe use your bike computer or really have some awareness of where you are as you're coming down. The highlight of the course is crossing this high bridge. I think it's like 157 feet above the Appomattox River. It's pretty neat. You can see the views, 360 views of the mountains there. And especially this time of year, the leaves are kind of still changing a little bit. So there's some color. It's really amazing. But this course does run through April. So the leaves are going to be gone pretty soon. All right, so you're going to keep going until you get down into this area here. I apologize, I can't remember, but there's a name for it. But basically, there is a bike lockup right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to, this is the transition area 1. You're going to transition from bikes to trek, lock up your bike, and then there's a whole bunch of checkpoints in the state park here along the trails and off trails. There are some pro points. We found some readouts out in the woods, which are really neat. And so we tried to find some neat stuff to show off for this course. So you're going to kind of run around here and you're going to do some checkpoints out there. I think all the land is on the state park property. And then once you're done with that, you're going to hop back on your bike and cross the bridge again and head out over here to the rest of this single track area. We do have some checkpoints, both the normal E points or the endurance points and the adventure points and the pro points. So there's a couple pro points on the trek section on the far east side. There's some pro points here. There's also going to be some pro points on the last trek. Pro points are basically, you've got to like find a park sign and fill in the blanks, and then it'll give you like the bearing and the distance. This time we didn't have you plotting any UTM coordinates, but it's all about bearing and distance. And so, you're going to have to kind of figure out that bearing and distance, and that'll change your strategy while you're on the course. So that's kind of the goal of the pro points, is kind of test you where you're tired and you're sweating, and now you got to figure out how to use your compass to do a bearing and measure the distance to get it just right on the map, so that when you go out into the woods to find that pro point, you know you're in the right spot. So it just adds a little bit of mental stress and mental puzzles to solve while you're out there. So either way, so this section here is a whole bunch of fun trails. And there is some up and down. You can kind of see the topo on here. So So this one's going to be a little bit of a bike whack section because you're going to be jumping off and on your bike to go into the woods to get the A and the P points. All right, so let's say you're done with this. You hop back on your bikes and head back to the start finish, which is, that was transition area 3, because transition 1 and 2 were at the end of the trek section. So now you lock up your bikes back in your car and transition over to foot. And now you get to head out into one of the highlights of this course is the Longwood campus. Longwood University is a historic university. It's very Jeffersonian. It's got a lot of nice architecture, big brick with columns and things like that. Like think of like UVA kind of style. So it's a fun campus, and we just wanted to show that off. I personally had never been to the Longwood campus, and so we wanted to blend that into this course just because it's kind of fun to run around a campus. Please don't use your bikes on this. The trek sections are designed to be on trek. So you do have to use foot to go through downtown Farmville over here to the trek section. But basically, you can kind of see here where these other trails are. They're not really trails, they're like sidewalks. But this is the Longwood campus here. So we've got a handful of E points that'll take you around to some of the prettier buildings and sites on the campus. And then we have some A points that are going to be a little bit harder to find. And then we did throw a P point in here where you're going to have to do a little map and compass out in the woods and do bearings and distance. So it's a lot of fun there. Okay, so once you're done with the Longwood campus, you're going to head back over to your car and you are good to go. And you've now finished the race. It's time for beverage of your choice at hopefully Charlie's. There's a bunch of restaurants in downtown, but there is a place right here across the street from the parking lot called Charlie's Waterfront Cafe. As you can see, this building is right on the water. And they actually have a back deck. So if it's nice outside, you can sit back there, have some food, looking at the water and all that kind of stuff. But either way, it's a fun restaurant. We always hit it when we're out there. So we wanted to share that with you. Okay, so one thing to know, the state park does close after dark. So you definitely want to get out here and start this course in enough time that you can be back here to the start finish before dark. You are basically able to go out here and do this Longwood campus. It's not gated or anything, or it's like a little city, right? So you can walk around and do the E points after dark if you want on the Longwood campus. And there are some A points and P points that are out in the woods, but it's not really on private property or anything. It's not in a protected area. So I don't recommend doing this course after dark, but just if you're out on this section of the course after dark, it's okay. If you are on the rails to trails after dark, I don't know if I'd call it illegal, but it's definitely frowned upon. And the park staff might get a little grumpy if they come across you with headlamps out doing the single track sections or anything. So that's basically the course. This is designed to be a lot of fun. It's family friendly. We do recommend using a mountain bike instead of like a cyclocross bike or something like that. I would not recommend that. But it could be done. If you're comfortable on a cyclocross and you do single track with cyclocross, it's fine. We're not going to tell you not to use it. But just if you're new to adventure racing, try to take a legit bike with little fatter tires, maybe the front suspension, that type of thing. So one other cool thing that we're offering with our races is navigation tutorial for anybody that's like new to adventure racing and they're a little nervous about just getting the maps and going out onto a course and doing it themselves with no training. What the navigation tutorial does, it's like if you select it as an add-on when you're doing your registration, you're going to get a link to a hidden YouTube page or a hidden YouTube video. And Andrea and I are going to walk you through step by step, beginning to end, this entire course. We talk about the compass bearings you're going to need, the meters, and how to look at different strategy. Basically gives away all the secrets of the adventure race. And we're pretty thorough with it, but it's perfect training for people that are new to adventure racing and they're just not comfortable using map and compass out in the woods. And the other thing, again, to help people learn how to navigate and just be more proficient with adventure racing, is we also have an add-on that you can get a separate or an extra set of maps. So like, let's say you have a 4-person team and you're training up for like the C2C, you could get everyone a set of maps. I think it's only an extra $10 per set. And that way everybody's got all of the maps as well as the clue sheet. So as you're doing all of your navigation, everybody on the team can be following along. Again, we're just trying to do this to help people get more comfortable with map and compass navigation adventure race style. So be sure to check that out during the registration process. Okay, I think that's the wrap up on the course. Of course, like always, if you have any questions, You can probably the best way to do is email us, and we'll put the email address on this video so you can copy it down. And then we look forward to hearing how you guys like the course. So thank you so much for watching, and we will be in touch soon. Thank you.